Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to Shark Week Night 6, our recapping of just each night's new episodes for Shark Week 2025, which I have had a blast talking about as well as interacting with all the comments we have gotten. So, thank you guys for interacting and sharing your thoughts on Shark Week 2025. I think this was a hit this year, so we will definitely be back next year. Just talking all the new shows once more, and I think I'll do this more often with different series that I'm interested in that come out. Even if it's just me, I think I've really enjoyed just getting my thoughts out on the different episodes. We're going to talk again, like I said, night 6, which was Friday night. Had another 3 new episodes that came out, which were Great White Reign of Terror, Florida's Death Beach, and Bull Shark Showdown. So I really didn't know a lot about any of these episodes going into the night outside of when I saw that Forrest Galante's team had made one of the episodes that we'll talk about when we get to there. So at least I had expectations that one of the episodes I thought would be good. And kind of like the rest of the week, it was the middle episode. But without further ado, let's get into the episodes, starting with the first one, Great White Reign of Terror. Now, this episode takes place in South Africa in modern day, but also describes a series of great white shark attacks in the 50s that they called Black December. There was quite a bit of attacks as well as some fatalities. And then they're looking at modern day, which was kind of having like a parallel, kind of like a shark attack span, but at a little bit different part of the coast of Africa, just up a little like northeast of where the original like Black December attacks happened. And so the whole episode, I think, just kind of goes into what caused the 50s and what may be causing the attacks now, which very, very important. I will say overall, this episode was shot really, really nicely. There's a lot of just really great, drone shots, underwater shots that are super clear, super high quality. So overall, I would say one of the better filmed episodes as far as just like the presentation, the clarity of the picture looked fantastic. I will say though, kicking off was a little disappointed. I have seen this a little bit with Shark Week 2025, kind of going back to Jaws versus Mega Croc, where they showed an alligator at the portion that was supposed to be the bite force. So again, maybe that's just because they didn't get the shot with the croc taking the bite force, and they just inserted one that they had of an alligator. It was weird because I was like, no, it's odd. But tonight there was something even more weird, and I guess we've seen in some of the thumbnails. If you just kind of stream it, you'll see them more. But some of the posters as well, some of the artwork doesn't look human made. It looks perhaps a little AI. And when they're going over this original history, this original Black December, there are some shots that were a little suspicious of this. At first, I thought it was just bad CGI. Like they showed one of a whaling ship, so they were saying there's a lot of whaling going on. There's some shark fins, and it was super quick, like blink and you miss it. And I was like, oh, they just kind of added the shark fins in. But then there was one where they said there was like cattle getting washed out, like livestock, and there was a white shark like attacking something and it almost looks AI. So I was like a little concerned there, a little disappointed, honestly. But after it did kind of regain itself, it's a pretty interesting episode. Like it didn't feel like it reached any highs or anything. It didn't really suck me into it at all, which is honestly a little sad. Even though it was about great whites once more, it did at least showcase some beautiful footage. Like I said, as well as it was doing some good research. And at least some interesting portions that came from it is what were the sharks eating? And they were testing out with like instead of like the sea lions and seal like cutouts and models that they drag behind boats, they were using a dolphin. And you could see the white sharks come up and they would bite at the tail fluke. So they at least knew how to hunt them. They've definitely interacted and it definitely showed that at some point the dolphin is part of the white shark's menu and something it goes after. I would also say the hosts did a good job. Just again, this one for some reason didn't connect with me. If it connected with any of you guys out there watching, listening, totally fine. It's kind of subjective. Just giving my opinion doesn't mean I'm right, doesn't mean I'm wrong. It's just what I think. So overall, I would say this one, not a terrible start. I would say more like a 6 out of 10. Just missing something. I just can't put my finger on it. Not 100% sure what it was missing, you know? But that brings us to episode 2, which was Florida's Death Beach, which, as I had mentioned, does feature Forrest Galante. In this episode, they are looking for black tips and having a hard time figuring out where they are. Forrest does talk to a gentleman that was bitten by one, and he goes out looking for him. He sets up like a little dummy to see if he'll get bitten, and they get nothing. They sit out there, and it kind of goes to show, like, yeah, there may be sharks somewhere in the water, but they're not out there trying to attack us. So, good little portion there. So then they attempt to go to a location that has perhaps a better chance of seeing some black tips. They get out, they don't see anything. They do see a white shark, and then they start seeing some like tigers and lemons. There's lots of lemon sharks in here, which was super cool. I've been seeing them kind of throughout Shark Week, like they will be in the background of different shots swimming around, but they're never really mentioned. So I was really excited, at least in this episode, to see the lemon shark get a little bit of love. So that was kind of nice. But yeah, it features a couple different hosts that we've seen besides Forrest Galante throughout Shark Week, including on Franken Shark, and it goes over that these black tips are actually being preyed upon by quite a bit of different bigger sharks. Maybe even the lemon sharks are pushing them out because they're bigger, but they are shown footage of a great hammerhead preying on a black tip, as well as discussing how like tiger sharks will, if they have an opportunity, they'll probably munch on a black tip. Sort of like the last episode that featured that dolphin model. This one features a model that's supposed to invoke a black tip shark. And it does draw in a big tiger shark that does go for the attack. So it does showcase that, yeah, black tips are on the menu. So yeah. Overall, not a terrible episode. I will say, if you like Forrest Galante, for more of the he had another series where he was like going chasing different like legends, and like he caught like a sturgeon. He was looking for giant anacondas, swam with that one. It feels definitely in line with that one. Whereas like alien sharks felt different. But I like both. I think this one's solid as well. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Nothing jumping off the page, maybe not as, I don't know if I'd put it below Alien Sharks or if I'd put that one above, because that one did feature quite a bit of a unique, like, just diversity of sharks as well as different animals. But again, this one does feature some sharks that again didn't get some love early on, and I think showcases some interesting findings throughout, like just shark research and stuff like that. So not a bad one. And that brings us to our final one, which was Bull Shark Showdown. I had no idea what this one was going to be. I didn't know if this was like two different bull sharks they caught on camera fighting each other, or like two groups of bull sharks were like competing in the same environment for something, or if they were like comparing bull sharks from the ocean to how they can survive in the rivers and estuaries and stuff like that. But they were actually competing, the bull sharks from waters around the coast of America to bull sharks around the coast of Australia. So interesting, right? It's a little bit different. This one felt very stylized. There's definitely a lot of like humor or just like theatrical elements, and just trying to feel like it's trying to be fun. So probably not going to be for everybody, but it does feature bull sharks the whole time. So that was nice to see. It wasn't a great white. Great whites didn't show up at all. So that was a breath of fresh air. Like I said, not a ton of these episodes have not featured the white shark, which again I love. It's just good to see some other species showcased. So in this episode, they were testing which population of bull sharks was A, going to have the strongest bite, B, going to have the possibility of being the most aggressive, and C, be the quickest one to attack. So you're probably like, how are they going to do that, right? Well, for the first one, I guess it's kind of easy. It's something we've seen throughout Shark Week 2025, just different methods of taking bite pressure. In both the Australian American versions, they just have a sensor on a long pole with a fish. So then the bull sharks will come up, investigate, and end up taking a bite. The American one does win. It has a 11, I think it was just over 1100 psi bite force, so massive. Especially because that wasn't like the largest a bull shark could get. So just imagine how how powerful those bites could get with a really really big one. And then the Australia one was a little less. It was somewhere around 800 psi, but they did try to make it a little fairer and do it you know bite per pound. And so they also had somebody out there measuring how big each shark was that did the bite. And so it was actually based on the per pound one, which the American shark still won with like 129, I believe, per pound, whereas the Australian one had like 103. So it was slightly lower. But I will say when the Australian one came in, it was like thrashing around. It looked just more aggressive. Like it was just going for it, like thrashing its head back and forth and just ripping that pull out. And so the next one was, which one was going to be more aggressive or have that possibility. And this one was testing which one had a higher level of testosterone, which, they're just taking DNA samples and testing that out. And the Australian one won. Ended up having like zero point 0.6 higher than the American one. So it kind of shows that even though they might be smaller and maybe not have as strong of bites in Australia, they might just be more aggressive. Of course, that brings us to the final one, which, thinking about one's more aggressive than the other, who was going to attack first? And this is where the winner seems like it's harder to judge just because they didn't use, the same way or same method to get this reaction. In Australia, they taped a fish to the bottom of a surfboard where they knew there was some bull sharks and swam a little bit and timed it. The fastest time they got was 30 seconds, 32 seconds, something like that. Pretty quick. I mean, 30 seconds like that, when you're talking like a giant, 6, 7 foot shark coming up and biting you. In America, they were just putting a fish on a line, throwing it out, and trying to reel it back in and get the sharks to chase it and, bite it quicker than the 32 seconds. Now, the 32 seconds was the better of the two times. Both teams got two shots to get their best time just to see. And both best times came on the second attempt because at that point, probably the sharks also knew, hey, there's food. In the second attempt, in the American one, they used a different type of fish, threw it out, and in like 9 seconds, the bull shark was on it. And then the other bull sharks were chasing it as it's trying to get away with the prey. So yeah, the American bull sharks, I guess, won this matchup. This one was interesting. Like I said, maybe not for everybody, just because there's a lot of parts in here that are kind of goofy and jokey and silly, maybe I'm sure people would say. But I would say there is so much awesome footage of bull sharks and actually some pretty decent, like clear footage of bull sharks and bull sharks just swimming with divers too. So I don't know. I would say maybe a 6.5 for this one. If I'm feeling generous, maybe a 7. This one I'll have to think on if I do a maybe like tier list of the episodes. I don't know if I'm going to do that yet, but I think it was nice just to get a an episode just on bull sharks. And they kind of like tease that they would do like a tiger shark one next year. So we'll have to stay tuned if we do this 2026. We'll see if Shark Week does the tiger shark showdown. I actually, if I were doing it, I think it'd be fun to compare the oceanic white tip with the bull shark because these are two sharks that are known to be more on the bold side or aggressive side, as some people might say. And I know certain people, if you read their books, that spend a lot of time in the water and oceans around even like tigers and whites, will point to one or point to the other as the shark they're most leery around. And so I think it would be interesting to see a comparison between the two. And also, it would just continue to give some love to sharks that weren't great whites. But I don't know. To me, that just seems like an episode I would be interested in because, while I do have a lot of favorite sharks, it seems like as we keep talking about these, I know bull sharks and oceanic white tips definitely rank pretty high up there. So Yeah, overall, a solid day. I would say a little bit better than Thursday. Again, I don't know. I'd have to go back and kind of see how I ranked each of those, but I think this one would slightly edge that one out. Now we only have one more day left. That's Saturday's episodes, which is only two new episodes. So yeah, I will be back. I will talk those two for one more. And hey, if you guys really, really want me to, maybe I will do a tier list of all the episodes and just give some more thoughts. And maybe I'll have a little bit more clarity, a little bit more time away from each of these episodes that I can think more on them and just rank them a little bit better. But until next time, guys, for more Cool's reviews, plenty of Shark Week stuff to your left. For more about us here at Cool's Paranormal, click that link to your right. And don't forget to hit that like and give us a subscribe. And let us know, which shark do you think would be more bold in the water, a bull shark or an oceanic white tip?